Welcome. Here we are getting started. I got Instagram over here. I got LinkedIn, got Facebook. Welcome. However, you are here for this Training Tuesday. My name is Susie Ann Castle. I'm creator and founder of the Sparkle Factor. You can find out all you want to know. See my name below. Here's the deal. Let me know where you're watching from, right? Let me know. Hey, I'm checking this out from XYZ. Love to know. Drop it in the comments or wherever you are catching this broadcast today. We're going to be talking about rejection. How do you heal from that? What do you do? It happens to all of us, right? I think self-care is one of the most important aspects to when we're trying to get beyond some rejection factor in our lives. Now, when you focus on educating what you could do when you're feeling rejected, it's really important to think about your emotional health. So we don't just want to be reactive, right? Like this thing happened to me, we throw our pity party. You know, I'm all about that, like all the bells and whistles, all the cookie dough, all the sad, sappy songs, all the things, right? Great. But then what do you do? Right? So I think it's important to realize rejection really is kind of like a wound, right? It's precisely why I want to tell you a little bit about emotional first aid. That's what I think of when I think of self-care in moments of rejection. It could be I didn't get a speaking gig. It could be a friend rejected me. It could be this thing over here isn't working out and I'm not feeling it. So emotional first aid is an idea that you act in terms of self-care, self-love, and well-being in response to any kind of outcasting. So that could be rejecting, right? Happens to us all the time. Now, unfortunately, what I am finding is that a lot of people don't know anything about emotional first aid. I really think this should be commonplace. So I want to devote this Training Tuesday to it. So stay with me about 5 minutes and I'm going to teach you a couple of concepts. Okay. Really, this is about awareness more than anything else. So unlike when you cut yourself, right? The wound gets cleansed, right? You put a Band-Aid on it, gets covered. People sometimes are so paralyzed by rejection and they do the swirliness, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this person did this to me. You stay in that space. And when you stay in that space, you really become paralyzed to make any kind of different action. So we need to be teaching ourselves and our children, right? Our society, the proper way of responding to such hurts as is experienced, because when you put them on top and on top and on top, they can slide you into depression, really keep you stuck and paralyzed, really fill you with anxiety in the long run. And that's not what we want. So here are some tips to really confront and process when rejection happens to you in a healthy way. All right, tip number 1, take time to listen to yourself, right? You want to listen when you're in that emotional swirliness. So when somebody hurts us, it's easy to get lost into brooding the pain, like I was talking about, your giant pity party, right? So the initial contact really does tend to paralyze you, right? It's also time, though, in that moment to really sit back, say, hey, self, we're going to be aware that this happened to me. This thing happened. It happened. What led to this, right? Think it through. Because when you understand the dynamics of pain and that root cause, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to focus on rebuilding with regard to a specific experience. It's not all of your experience, it's a specific experience. But when you're emotionally crushed by rejection, it's all too easy to generalize. This is what always happens. Nobody wants to hear me. Nobody wants to be my friend. I can never get an XYZ. Right? When you're doing that, that triggers diminished self-worth and sometimes even self-hate. We don't want to be in that space. We want to specificize it, right? So this specific thing happened. What led to it? Did I have some action here? Was it just a random thing? What is it? Okay. So being able to spotlight a specific incident and analyze it will really help prevent dangerous generalizations and their consequences. And later, honestly, it may help you review the incident in light of other negative experiences, because maybe you want to look for a common pattern, a repeated action that you're making. And then you can just change the trajectory slightly and go, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. What am I learning? How can I do something different? So you want to respect and you want to understand the experience of rejection. It's important because it's a pathway to a different response from you. Okay. So remember, we want to feel it. We want to listen to it, but we also want to know what contributed to it. Was it us? Was it another person or a thing? Was it a situation? Was it all of those things? And once we develop that objective understanding, you have more energy to proceed to the next phase, which tip number two, develop your internal parent. Okay. This is kind of woo-woo, right? But stay with me for a minute. There are times in our lives when we are alone in the face of rejection. There's no support group. Our friends aren't reachable. And so the next best step, I think, is to revive an internal parent. So what is this? This is really referring to your capacity and your tendency to provide care that's akin to the way an ideal mother, father, nurturing parent figure would care for you. So developing this orientation is very helpful because it helps us tune into our ability to nurture ourselves. Now, let me tell you the funny way I do it, right? I say talk to yourself in the way that you would talk to your dog. So, for example, do you say to yourself, "Hey, Belly, you're so cute. Come here, let me rub your belly." I do that to my dogs, right? When you're in pain, talk to yourself the way you would talk to your dog. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to your best friend. That's internal parenting. That's caring for yourself in a way that this other nurturing figure would do for you. Okay. Also, just get a dog. They're amazing. All right. The third tip I have for you when you're faced with rejection is really, depending on the transgression, you want to be about the spirit of forgiveness. Now, when we forgive the people who hurt us, it's a process, right? I have someone in my life I'm probably going to work a lifetime on. Okay. But working is the process you want to be in. Okay. Yes, closing the chapter can also be good, but it's the process of working through it. So you're gearing yourself up to say, you know what? This happened, this thing, this person, whatever. I'm learning and I'm going to see how I don't want to be like that again, how I don't want to expose myself to that kind of toxic relationship again. You're learning constantly. And in that learning, you're like, and part of that learning is I'm going to forgive myself for being in that space. Okay. All right. Another tip that I have for you is learning to challenge negative thoughts in a positive way. Okay. So learning to channel your negative thoughts in a positive way. After understanding the nature of rejection, maybe why an event happened, you have to put that band-aid on that I was talking about at the beginning of this, right? So because there's a wound. There's a wound. It could be a little, it could be big. Okay. And you don't want it to bleed over into other areas of your lives. In the face of rejection, some things that we maybe have forgotten that we've been taught is there are crucial things that matter in that moment. Okay. The first is that there are those who love us with all of their hearts. So find those people, connect with those people online, offline, in person, virtually, doesn't matter, but call them in. Say, I need you right now. I've had a hard thing happen. I need you. Read the telephone book to me. Do we still have telephone books? Anyway. Okay. The second is that not everything is under our control. And the sooner you say, like, this situation, this person, whatever, was not under my control. They were of their own volition. I didn't meet the timeline, whatever it might be. You just need to just, as much as you can, what you can control is your response. And the third is that despite everything outside your control, everything within us, we can control, right? So when we realign our thoughts to that truth that we're not alone, that our worth is not based on the opinion of other people, that we have the power to shape our lives and choices for the better, you begin to redirect your energies and move on. And I would say, at least with my clients, what I tell them to do is then go give something to someone else. Like, go volunteer at a food pantry, go offer to walk your neighbor's dog, offer to, like, that mom that's juggling all the things in the grocery cart and little kids, like, help her push her grocery cart. Do something else outside of your own self, and you'll begin to get lessen that rejection, that hurt, that wound. And then you add that experience to your emotional knowledge base. So next time it happens, your brain is like, oh, we've done this before. We know what to do here. So we're going to do this, and it won't be so hard this time. That's what I have for you today on this Training Tuesday. I'm glad that you caught all or a part of it. Let me know your feedback, comments below. I'm here every Tuesday giving a little life tip, a hack tip to have you be your most productive, aligned human self. All right. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.